Hey marketing people, Dr. G here. Today I'm going to speak with you about one of my favorite marketing strategies, experiential marketing. I love experiential marketing because it is so much fun, because it's all about engaging with your customers and engaging with consumers in a very memorable way. So what is experiential marketing? Basically what it is getting people to interact with your brand in a way that they typically wouldn't think of. It's very hands-on, very tangible, and it brings customers together, and not really about offering a product, yet offering something really remarkable in terms of making your brand memorable and having them really understand what your brand stands for. It truly does create a bond between you and your customers, and it also gives you a way to build awareness in a very memorable way, particularly with non-customers. So I'm really excited to share with you some ideas that I've found and give you a sprinkling of things that I've done in my career as well. So I'm excited to share with you some super cool experiential ideas. So why do we do this? We do this because it encourages interaction with our brand. We do it because it creates memories for consumers. It can also change the mind of dissatisfied customers. And what's really cool about experiential marketing is that it's one of those things that you can do in a very targeted fashion as well. So it doesn't have to be big and extreme, and we will look at some of those today. It can be very focused on reaching a particular target audience. So I'm going to jump right into some examples because I think the examples speak for themselves. So I'm going to start off with some small things that people can do. So for example, if you've ever been to Trader Joe's, and I'm so sorry we don't have one here in St. George, it's one of those things that I really miss about living in a big city is Trader Joe's. And what Trader Joe's does in their stores, you may or may not have known this, but they hide little things. So they will hide stuffed toys within their store on shelves, and generally it's within arm's reach of a child. So what's cool about it is as parents and children go into the store, they can interact with looking or doing sort of a scavenger hunt. So it's a really small, simple way to create a memorable experience, shopping experience, both for the customer, the parent, and the child that goes to the grocery store that isn't always excited about really being there. One thing that I will say on a smaller scale, something that I've done at trade shows is I've done lots of experiential marketing campaigns way back in the day when QR codes were first formed. We would have our people that were working the trade show floor have a t-shirt on or a sweatshirt with a QR code on the back. And if somebody snapped the code, yes, I know this is ancient, QR codes have been around for a while, that would take them into a drawing that we would have and then encourage them to meet up with us at our booth to discuss our products. So yeah, very simple thing to do, a little antiquated, I get that, but it worked in its day. Another thing that was really simple that we did at a trade show, this is really interestingly simple. We took yard-long sticks, like tubes, and we filled them with jelly beans that we got from Costco. And we would just have people walk around the trade show floor with these big tubes of jelly beans. And what's fun about this is that it was super simple, and people just started following those with the big jelly bean tubes. And we would hire people, staff or whatever, to walk around the show, and pretty soon you will see this line of people, and then we just bring them back over to our booth. And of all of the things at the trade shows, the gizmos, the tech gadgets, the swag, the number one thing people were interested in buzz was, where do we get the jelly bean tubes? Super simple, experiential, not a lot of money, but created a lot of fun buzz. Now I'm going to show you a couple of videos, which is big brands doing some pretty remarkable experiential marketing. So I'm going to show you one now. This is a fun, blooper reel, not working, sorry. Anyway, let me tell you about this. This was an experiential marketing campaign that Coca-Cola did, where they had this happy Coca-Cola truck, and they would just go through the streets, and there was a button on the back of the truck that said push here, and a free bottle of Coke would come out. So it just brought smiles to people's faces, and pretty cool trick. Another thing, well, I'm gonna get out of here, forgive me. Another one for my blooper reel, yes indeed. This is what you call the technology person learning to use her technology. Here's another really cool experiential example. This was an ice cube in Brazil. Really hot day at a beach, and what Coca-Cola did was they took a bunch of cans of Coke and they froze it in this big ice cube. So people just was like, what is this? In a hot day, the goal for the people were they had to somehow get that can of Coca-Cola out of the ice cube. Not sure why these things didn't blow up, because I think when I put Coca-Cola in my freezer, it tends to blow a gasket. That's what happens when you put too much Coke in the freezer for too long. But anyways, it was a really cool campaign, something simple, a lot of buzz. Now we have, this is relatively new. This was supposed to come out in January. This is the hotel in Nutella. So think about a pop-up store, but it being a hotel to let fans of Nutella stay in the Nutella hotel room. So yes, this is quite an expensive experiential marketing technique, but very cool and something that would definitely go viral and make a big impression with those fans of Nutella. Now we have, if you are a Simpsons fan, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, they came up with an experiential idea of creating a Quickie Mart store. And let me show you here what this store looks like.
Without a college degree, I was just fighting an uphill battle.
Yes, as marketers, we have to skip through the annoying ads. I'm very sorry about that. Gotta love the music. Who wouldn't want to go here? Lard Lad Donuts. Now that is a donut. Real pop-up store in Myrtle Beach. Meat lamb dogs. Heat lamb dogs. So yes, if you are a Simpsons fan, definitely something to see from an experiential marketing perspective. All right, so on a little bit different scale, we have IKEA. IKEA is really big in Gen Z, trying to attract students. So they did this campaign where people could come and do a big sleepover at the IKEA store. So again, not too expensive per se, but a way to bring buzz and customers in and create some content that would definitely go viral. The internet's a little slow-mo today.
I read to everyone, Goldilocks.
This is the announcement. It's 5 p.m. and the store is now closed.
So they're building the show for the big sleepover.
Tonight we're hosting the IKEA Big Sleepover here in IKEA Lakeside. We have 100 lucky competition winners who've got the chance to sleep over in the store this evening.
So far tonight, we came in and we chose our bed linen and everything. We got a few
This
goodie
is
bags,
definitely not social distance.
and had some cakes and hot chocolate and mulled wine.
We've got a sleep expert on hand to advise about the rituals and habits that people have before they go to bed. We're going to be showing film, we've got massages, manicures, and we've even got celebrities who will be coming and doing bedtime story reading for
Bedtime
us.
story
Are you
reading.
there and made noisy breakfast? I read to everyone, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and everyone kind of laughed. So it was quite light-hearted, like tongue-in-cheek. It wasn't deadly serious.
We did a piece of research with about 3,000 people. We found that 3/4 said that they took less than 10 minutes to choose their mattress, which is less time than some people take to choose their lunch. It's really important to take the time to choose the right mattress because you actually spend around about a third of your life on it.
I hadn't really realised how little time people spend looking at beds, which are clearly very important in obtaining good sleep.
It's more of a fun experience as well because you obviously everyone's in one big room together sleeping like with strangers.
I had loads of fun. I had a little bit of a massage. I spoke to the sleep expert. So yeah, it's been good.
I've had my nails done. So good, first time ever. Drunk lots of hot chocolate, eaten too many biscuits.
I sleepwalk sometimes. I feel like
For me, I've never had a problem with sleeping, so I wouldn't really know what the best thing is to tell someone, but I don't know, cozy up, have a cuddle, lights off.
So that is the IKEA Big Sleepover. Now what I want to mention about this is not only was that really great content to create, they did a contest for the Big Sleepover. They had this great viral content that they could use afterwards, but what's neat about this is they also collected a lot of marketing research information about their target audience, about the information regarding how people sleep and the comfort of the bed. So kind of a twofold experience. I think that one is pretty cool. Okay, now this one, I think this one is cool because this one brings in a little bit of consumer behavior. I know this is our promotions class, but I am a big fan of helping promote positive self-image. So I do believe that this is kind of a cool lean cuisine installation that they did for experiential marketing.
Make you sad. You're gonna feel something.
I've had a very difficult relationship with the scale my whole life.
You can't get on a scale and not think something about what number it said. That number is going to make you happy, that number is going to make you sad. You're going to feel something.
Certain things you can't measure by a scale.
When I was asked the question, what do you want to weigh on yourself? I never asked that. I want to weigh myself by my police.
I care for over 200 homeless children. If I can bring a little bit of love, some light in their eyes.
I'm the sole provider of my family. There are 4 boys. I wanted them to see the strong woman in their life, provide for them. To have somebody weigh me in that aspect, that's a powerful thing. The moment I walked in and I saw those scales, it touched my heart.
I'm just proud to be a part of this wall.
That these are important enough to put on a wall in Grand Central Station. It makes me feel like I'm a part of a movement. This is the beginning of changing how people think. It's how you weigh you.
So that was interesting. It was a project where they asked women, and I didn't see any men, but I'm assuming it was basically focused on women, to answer the question, how do you weigh yourself? And then they put those answers on a wall in Grand Central Station for people to see. So my question for you is, not only is this a good experiential marketing campaign, which obviously they could use in their social media and other PR efforts, but how would you weigh yourself? And I think those of you who know my story know I weigh myself on giving back to all of you, and hopefully my experiences as a marketer can be shared and you can learn something from me. So I found that quite a moving campaign. Forgive me for my technical difficulties. Again, still learning the new toys here. All right, here's a nudge. Some of you have seen this before in my other classes. So this is chalk art. I love chalk art because it's easy to do, and generally you can kind of get away with it. You know, you can ask for permission, you can ask for forgiveness. I'll leave that up to the permits of your particular, rules of your particular communities. However, this is a great way, an easy chalk art way to get a message across. So they're using a crosswalk here, and they're putting a great big McDonald's logo on it and showing the French fries. So I thought that was very clever. Again, chalk art is an easy thing to do and super fun. I love this. They're wrapping the theater seats with with M&Ms. Very cool. Here we've got an IMAX 3D for, it looks like it might be some sort of movie that they're going to promote, but a fun little thing on a building for some 3D glasses promoting IMAX 3D theaters. This is a simple one. It looks like what they had done was they've taken a bunch of shelf space, freezer space of a store, and they put different Adidas in it. So again, good product placement, fun. If you can get it in the right location, probably a fairly inexpensive pop-up that you can do. Puma, here's just a Soundstage. So, you know, using your signage at a community event. We have a pop-up store, Kate Spade. Probably New York is probably Fashion Week, something like that. And then this is an interesting one. Know your brand. So these are actually restrooms that are designed in an Adidas box. So I don't really get the connection between the Adidas box and the use of a restroom. We're going to get to how experiential marketing relates to your brand later, but interesting concept. Often tweet for your feet. So this is a way that you can use, get some shoes out of a vending machine. So those are some examples, some a little bit more extravagant than others, but you can see how you can have fun with this. There's lots of different things that you can do, and I would love to brainstorm with you around experiential marketing because I think it's such a cool thing. But here's some things that you need to remember. Experiential marketing is not about selling stuff. It is about heightening your brand. Don't bug people. You want people to interact with your brand. So what that means is if you're somewhere, you have an event, or you've got an experiential marketing campaign somewhere, let people interact with it on its own. Don't stop and bug them. Don't ask them questions. Just let them experience the brand on its own. Make sure that whatever message you're sending aligns to your brand values. We can get a little carried away with things, so if there is a message, make sure it ties, and then build an experience around the whole campaign. You notice that there were some hashtags. There might have been some contests or things like that. If there is a way to capture someone's information without bugging them, without being too offensive, it's a good way to do that. But remember, this isn't about selling stuff. This is about branding, building your brand. Also know that suspense is cool. People might wonder what the heck is going on. So if you can build an experience where people question what it is, like we did with the long tubes of jelly beans, we just walked around with them and people started following us. The suspense is really cool, and it might be a little bit scary for people sometimes, but it is memorable. So don't freak people out, you know, but build some suspense. And then keep it on brand. As I mentioned before, you want it to be memorable, but you want people to connect what you're doing with your brand values. And a lot of other fun things to do experiential marketing is a great way to collaborate. Collaborate with local artists, musicians, bring people in. If you have a store, bring people into your store and collaborate with those in your community and try to augment the experience that you're trying to reflect in your brand. Be fun. Build it into learning if possible. If somebody doesn't know how to use your product, build kiosks. Let them touch and feel your product, particularly if you're an online retailer and you don't have a storefront. Pop-ups are a good way, or doing maybe something in a storefront or a mall, if malls even exist anymore, at a community event. Let them interact with your product. I saw a really good example in St. George when I went to the First Friday a couple weeks ago, and Smash Labs was there. I don't know if you know Smash Labs, but the owner is a student of ours at Dixie, and they have this really fun business where they get stuff like washing machines, and you can just smash the heck out of these things, get your frustrations out. They had an actual Smash Lab right there. It was super experiential marketing and a great way to show off their product. So build some fun into the learning experience as well. So I'm going to wrap really closely here, but generally if we were face-to-face, as you know on Thursday, we typically do activities, and I was going to do this as an online activity, but I'll just talk about it. So I want you to build some experiential marketing ideas into your integrated marketing plans for your clients. That said, one way of brainstorming these kind of ideas, you can do this on your own or you can do this in groups, is to think about for your client some sort of experiential marketing. What is the objective? Remember, we always start with the business objective. Is it to create brand awareness? Is it to capture names or information? But I want you to think of what that objective would be, and then start to brainstorm some ideas. And one of the ways that I brainstorm is by doing a mind map. And a mind map is simply a sketch that you do as ideas come to mind. And you just draw it out, and sometimes when you see something visually, you'll get new ideas, particularly if you're working with a group. So let me show you an example. So when we have a group in our class working with sloth cookies, and we did something called the 150 and 50. It's a brainstorming exercise that I did. So we went to a classroom, the 5 of us, and we took this long board and we just started mapping out ideas. We didn't care what they were, just ideas to help generate demand for the cookie business. So we took this, the goal was to get 150 ideas in 50 minutes, and we blew past that in no time. But you can see here, we just started drawing on the board, and one idea led to the next, and it was really a fun design thinking activity. I call this mind mapping. So you can see, so after I took this beautiful picture of our work that we did as a small group, I took and coordinated it into a mapping exercise. And you can see that I have here under Experiential, I've got some of the ideas for demand generation were around Experiential. We talked about a food truck event and how we could do all of these different ideas around it. So I just have this highlighted here. So what I want you to think about as you're thinking about experiential ideas, how could you use mind mapping as sort of a way to brainstorm and exercise, particularly if you're stuck or if you're just starting to work together as a group. This is a great activity to do. So that's a wrap for today. Experiential marketing, couple of things. First of all, it's a great way to create brand awareness. It's a good way for people to interact with your brand in a way that they may not normally have. And it's a super way to enhance your integrated marketing plans from more of a public relations type of perspective. Remember, it's not about selling, it's about building your brand. So it was really great to talk to you, and hopefully I will see you soon. Take care.